What's going on, Washington Commanders Nation? It's your boy Rio Robinson, back with the latest and greatest on the Rambling with Rio YouTube channel, where we ramble about our Washington Commanders. Today is Tuesday, July 23rd, and we are now one sleep away from the start of Washington Commanders training camp. 2024 training camp is now underway. Tomorrow, veterans reported today, took care of their physicals and whatnot. And we heard from our general manager, Adam Peters, and Dan Quinn. I will address what they spoke about a little bit on my live stream tonight with Josh Taylor as we do a full-scale training camp preview for the Washington Commanders. But today, this video is about what specific players desperately need to have a productive training camp. And that training camp needs to spill over into the regular season, because these are guys we need an impact from that we just have not got it yet. These are guys drafted by Ron Rivera, not late round picks for the most part, guys who were supposed to be a part of the rotation, guys who were depended on for production. And I look at these guys on three aspects: production, eye test, impact. Because we have not got much from either of these guys, but these are the top four players who desperately need to have a good training camp starting tomorrow when practices begin. Camp opens up to the public, I believe, Sunday the 28th, but practices start tomorrow. We can start scrolling the timeline endlessly for update after update and start overreacting over practice clips. I'm here for it. Football is returning at a time where the world needs it most, but let's get it. Player number 4 on my list of guys who desperately need to have a good training camp. Number 4, Cole Aquaman Turner. You may not recognize him this offseason because he's got a bit of a haircut, so the whole surfer Aquaman vibes are out the window. But tight end Cole Turner is going into year 3, and it's time for him to put up or shut up. When I make this list, I'm looking at guys that we expected some type of production from, and I'm also looking at guys who could be phased off the roster or completely out the rotation, because we have a new staff here and they've brought in guys at every position. I look at Cole Turner, and I remember my first impression of Cole Turner. Me and my boy Jalen, Stunner Showtime, Bleeding BNG. I remember that summer going out to training camp. For the first 6 practices, this was the best player on the field for the offense. Cole Turner was getting in our starting defense's ass. He was catching everything. He was routing Bama's up. He was always open, and he just looked like a guy. You know, that guy we expected to see when we drafted him out of Nevada, coming in with like a double-digit touchdown season his last year in school. That's what we always wanted to see. We've now seen him in a Scott Turner offense, and we've seen him in an Eric Bieniemy offense. But did we really see him? Did we really see him? Because I'm looking at, it's more than a numbers thing. The eye test matters, but we're looking at a guy who has played in 22 career games and has 13 catches for 143 yards. No touchdown. I'm going to say that again. 22 games, 13 catches, 143 yards. No touchdown. So practically his career in about 2 seasons is one good Travis Kelce game. Because Travis Kelce, George Kittle, they've had games with 10 plus catches and 120, 130, 140 yards. That's not going to cut it, my boy. You have to impress a regime and a staff that did not draft you, and it's not looking too good for you roster-wide. There's a good chance Cole Turner is sent to the practice squad or phased off this roster. Why? Because the starting tight end is veteran Zach Ertz, who was brought in because he knows the offense. He's a very capable veteran, and if he stays on the field, he's going to be all reliable for us. If anything, he's going to give us, at minimum, Logan Thomas production here at tight end. But what did we do in the second round of the NFL draft? We drafted Ben Sinnott out of Kansas State. a guy who people compare as some hybrid between Kyle Juszczyk and George Kittle from the San Francisco 49ers. So starting tight end, promising rookie who could end up being the starting tight end. John Bates, who some people, including Logan Paulson, call the best inline blocking tight end, if not in the conference, the entire league. So that's 3 tight ends. And then there's Cole Turner. Do we need to keep 4 tight ends on the active roster? I don't think so. Is Armani Rogers going to be recovered from his Achilles injury? I don't know. Are they going to stash a fullback on the roster and count him as a tight end? I don't know. But there is a world where there are 3 tight ends kept on the final roster, and Cole Turner is not one of them. So Cole Turner needs to show he belongs here, and there's a role for him in Cliff Kingsbury's offense. We have not been able to find that yet. He made a couple plays with Sam Howell in the preseason last year. Never saw him really during the regular season. He was one of those guys that got in bum-ass Eric Bieniemy's doghouse very early, never got out of it, but we haven't seen much of Cole Turner when the Sunday bright lights come on. We've only seen him in training camp. We've only seen him flash in preseason. Desperately needs to have a good training camp. So number 4 on my list is going to be tight end Cole Turner going into year 3. It's time to put up or shut up, my boy. Number 3 on my list of Commanders who need to have a good training camp, this space eater known as Phidarian Mathis, former Alabama boy, another player who was supposed to fortify our Alabama wall in the defensive tackle room in our defense. We drafted him to be a space eater on the field. So far, through 2 years, he's a space eater on the roster because we have not seen him do much of anything on a football field. This is what his career looks like. 10 games played in 2 years. He got injured on the first series of his rookie year versus Jacksonville. He was actually in on a sack. He was in on a tackle for loss. It didn't get recorded. But he looked like, oh, this guy might be something. And then one drive, meniscus goes out for the season. I think some meniscus injuries you can come back from at a certain amount of time. But when you're lugging around 315 pounds of weight, that meniscus is a little bit different. Ligament might fall off the bone if you try playing on it. But this is going to be the shortest segment of this video because I don't know what Phidarian Mathis is. I don't know if he's good. I don't know if he's average. I don't know if he is the worst defensive tackle I've ever seen because he's made 0 impact on anything. He doesn't stand out in practice. He doesn't stand out in preseason. He doesn't stand out in a regular season game. After the drafting of Jerzon Johnny Newton in the 2nd round, 36th pick of this year's draft, there's a world where Phidarian Mathis is phased to the practice squad or off the roster as well, because we know John Ridgeway is going to be in the mid. Matter of fact, Phidarian's going to be the defensive tackle 4. He has a roster spot. But unlike before, you're not going to get a roster spot promised to you just because you were a 2nd round pick. Lord knows why Ron Rivera and company decided to make him a 2nd round pick, because there were so many better players on the board. Even Phidarian, when the player and the agent come out and say they were shocked to hear from the team, they know damn well they should not have been drafted that high. Roster space eater. I don't know what his purpose on the roster is. They're obviously trying to get him some shine because I've seen him in a lot of the things the team's been doing on social media in the offseason. Hopefully, new defensive minds, a better staff, a better scheme can come in and get something out of this guy, because even though Adam Peters and company did not select him, we still used a fucking 2nd round pick on a guy that we don't even know can play football. We have no idea if this nigga can play football. And this is year 3. His career consists of 2 tackles solo and donuts across the board in 10 games played in 2 seasons. I pray to the football gods that Adam Peters and company have a much better grasp on recruiting and the college scouting process, because it almost feels like every Ron Rivera pick was severely flawed, and we just could not even attempt to get a superstar out of any of these picks. Like, these are highly picked guys, man. This guy was picked in the second round, the 47th, when we had so many needs on our roster because he was supposed to be Daron Payne insurance. Through 2 years, this guy is an absolute nothing burger of a defensive tackle. But let's move it on to number 2, because there's no reason to keep going any longer on this, because there's not really much to talk about. So, which brings me to number 2 on our list. The top 2 guys on our list, I think, are under the most pressure to have a decent to really good training camp. And for some people, this is going to be a surprise. It should not be. Dyami Brown comes in at number 2 on my list. How fitting, because he wears the deuce. The dose, number 2. Dyami Brown, wide receiver we took in the 2021 draft in the 3rd round, 82nd overall. You know, the guy that Amon-Ra St. Brown lists when he names the 16 guys drafted ahead of him. This is a guy he takes personally because he knows Dyami has been Drake as an NFL receiver right now, and Amon-Ra just got a contract making $30 million a year. But Dyami Brown, the promise of Dyami Brown. I still remember that summer like it was yesterday. Me and Jalen, my guy, you're going to always hear me referring to memories and flashbacks with my boy Jalen, because we get busy, we put boots to the ground, and we go to all the events and stuff together when it comes to this football team. 2021 was a year to remember because it was a year of transition. We became the football team. We're the football team, knew everything, and it was the last training camp session held in Richmond, where you got the real VIP experience out there, where training camp actually felt like training camp because a hell amount of people was there. Dyami Brown was a star his rookie year at training camp. He was one of the better players on the football field. I remember they had the event at FedEx Field. I think it was called Friday Night Football, where we all went out there to watch the team practice, and they did a live intra-squad scrimmage at the stadium, and then at the end they did a light show and all this type of shit. Dyami Brown was mixing Bamas up. He was open. He was catching everything. He didn't have a case of the dropsies. There was no reason to think Dyami wasn't going to be a starter and a dog. I remember the catch he made against the Cincinnati Bengals his rookie year. I expected an absolute fucking dog. We've got the absolute antithesis of dog through 3 years of Dyami Brown. His rookie year, in 15 games played, he had 12 catches on 25 targets for 165 yards. No touchdown. Then his sophomore season, it's time for Dyami to break out, right? Scott Turner's going to get him more involved. You know, we're going to get him the ball this year. He has the Tennessee Titans game where he goes absolutely nuts for over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. Has a one-handed touchdown, has a bomb for a touchdown. Carson Wentz was dotting him up. Okay, this is the Dyami we drafted. We finally going to get him cooking. Nope. Ended the season. 15 games played again. 5 catches, 143 yards, 2 touchdowns. The yards and the touchdowns all came in one game. So that means for the other 14 games, this nigga was just out there doing cardio. He was just out there doing football spin class on Sundays. You can blame the scheme. You can blame the quarterbacks. You can blame anybody. But at some point, we have to factor in that a player is going to play. Terry McLaurin has played with 100 fucking quarterbacks. You know what Terry McLaurin manages to do every year? Get 1,000 yards. Get 70 catches. Get in the end zone 5 times. He manages to get it done. So we can't just give everybody excuses. I know we all are going to give Jahan Dotson excuses because we took him in the first round, and we're going to do everything we can to try to defend and hope he turns out to be Terry Light. But what's the excuse for this guy? What's the excuse for him? He got hella clock his rookie year. He got hella clock his second year. And don't get me started on the third year. He played all 17 games for us last year. Every single game of the season. He played with his fucking college quarterback, one of his best friends at the University of UNC, the guy who got him drafted, Sam Howell. And that couldn't get him going. 12 catches, 168 yards, and 1 touchdown. Hella drops. Was the touchdown fire? Yes. It was the potential game winner at Seattle where Sam dotted it up and put it in between 2 defenders. He went up airborne to get it, got to the ground, finished it, scored a touchdown. He had a nice catch versus the Patriots as well. Then a bunch of nothing. 17 games of production in an offense that threw the ball on a 70 to 30% clip, and you finish with 12 catches for 168 yards and 1 touchdown? That's not going to get it done. And Dyami carries himself like an NFL receiver. He actually carries himself like he looks in the mirror and sees an absolute superstar. I'm going to need your demeanor to carry on to production because we've got none. In 47 games played, you have 476 receiving yards. So in 47 career games, you average 10 yards a catch and way less than a touchdown a game. Come on, bro. 3 touchdowns in 47 games, less than 500 yards in 47 games. You desperately need to have a good training camp. And I'm looking at the wide receiver position. This may be the tightest position to cover during training camp because I think the first 5 spots on the roster may be already in ink. Terry, lock. Luke McCaffrey, lock. Jahan Dotson, lock. Jamison Crowder is your primary punt and kick returner, and he's going to be your fill-in utility slot extraordinaire. I think he's a lock, and they specifically brought in Olamide Zaccheaus. That could potentially be 5 locks at the wide receiver position, meaning we could be done there, but knowing Cliff Kingsbury and we're running an air raid offense, we're going to keep 6 receivers. So we have Dyami Brown, Dax Milne, rookie Marcus Jack Saint, Mitchell Tinsley, Bryson Tremaine, all competing for potentially Damiere Byrd, Casimir Allen. There's like 8 Bamas competing possibly for 1, maybe 2 spots in the wide receiver room. Dyami Brown, once again, had a really, really positive offseason. He had a good mini camp. He had a good OTA session. But where have we heard that before? We've seen Dyami look like dynamite in the preseason. We've seen him look like dynamite at Friday Night Football. We've seen him at training camp consistently get behind the defense. His hands are inconsistent when games come to it. His route tree is still dirt through 3 years in the NFL. And we've seen more of Dyami on his YouTube channel than we've seen on Sundays on the football field. Put up or shut up time for Dyami Brown, which takes us to number 1 on the list, someone who I think the most needs to have a good training camp session. He just needs some good press, and he needs a morale boost in 2024. It was going to be Washington Commanders first-round pick from 2023, Emmanuel, built like a praying mantis, Forbes. Emmanuel Forbes' rookie year, it goes much further than production. Fuck production. Cornerback is the hardest position not named quarterback in the NFL. So I understand getting off to a slow start in your rookie year as a corner, even though not everybody got off to a slow start. I mean, Christian Gonzalez got hurt, but he was frying when he was in, but that's here or there. That's not here nor there. We didn't draft Christian Gonzalez because he is none of our business. The eye test, the body language, and the production in totality for Emmanuel Forbes' rookie year was a disaster. It literally got as bad as it can get. There was a span of time where this man gave up over 500 yards over a few weeks of football, 500 yards and multiple touchdowns. It just looked bad. His one shining spot of his rookie year, he had a late pass deflection, which got his morale high, got him talking shit, got his confidence back a little bit. And he caught an interception that was thrown directly to him from Russell Wilson in week 2 versus the Broncos. But what did we draft this guy to do? We drafted him to create turnovers. We're talking about the guy with the most pick sixes in college football history. We're talking about dudes with double-digit interceptions in college. We're talking about the ultimate playmaker, field flipper, turnover general we added to our defense. And we're talking about a guy who looked fucking phenomenal in training camp. Turns out the offense was just ass juice, and he just was not built for this in year one. It's a combination of his defensive coordinator sucked. The head coach was in over his head, and this guy did not belong on an NFL field as a rookie. This guy did not look pro ready. And ultimately, when it comes down to it, I know we don't want to keep harping on the weight. I know ESPN.com has Emmanuel Forbes listed as 180 minus 20 pounds from that. That boy is 160 soaking wet, and he might be lighter than that. His lack of size creates a lot of times where he is making business decisions on Sunday. He wants no part of sticking his head in there and making a tackle. It looks like there's effort concerns at times, and he stands no chance when you line him up against a big receiver like A.J. Brown. Like, my biggest nightmare for Emmanuel Forbes this year is to see him lined up against that unit known as Malik Neighbors that the Giants just drafted. Imagine Malik Neighbors catching a ball in space with Forbes in his vicinity, in his proximity. It would be barbecue chicken alert all the way marching until the end zone. I don't know, man. Emmanuel Forbes, Darrell Green said last year, I know exactly what we could do to get him right. He said, I know exactly what could fix this guy. You know what I haven't heard? Emmanuel Forbes taking Darrell Green up at his word. You know who did, though? The rookie we just drafted in the second round from Michigan, Mikey Sainristil, already working with Darrell Green. Have you heard Emmanuel Forbes working with Darrell Green? No. I mean, old Grandma Grams told him in that video last year at the draft party, you need to be studying film of Darrell Green. Apparently, Grandma was cooking because he ain't even take Darrell Green up on that offer. But Mikey Sainristil, the guy Nick Saban called the best defensive player in the entire draft, is already working with Darrell Green. And speaking of Darrell Green, we're going to be retiring his number on October 20th when the Panthers come to town. Shout out to the team for actually scheduling a positive event when we have an inferior or equivalent opponent to us on the roster and not when a great team comes in the building. Let's get back on topic. Emmanuel Forbes, show me anything. Show me anything, because if you can't get on the field in a cornerback room that consists of Benjamin St-Juste, Michael Davis, Tariq Fields-Castro, Chigozie Anuzium, Noah Igbenogany, Caillou Blue-Kelly, James Pierre. I'm not going to say Mikey Sainristil though, because he's a dog. I already think he's the number one cornerback in the room. Day one, AJ Woods and Nick Whiteside. If you can't crack the starting lineup in this cornerback room when there's no clear solidified number one dog in the room, you may be a lost cause and you may be a DC defender before we know it. I'm going to cross my fingers because Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr. were very high on Emmanuel Forbes when they were with Dallas, and they were actually planning to select him if he was to get to them in the 20s in the draft. They were surprised that he went number 16, just like the rest of us were surprised. You know, it wasn't surprised Ron and company, because they had Emmanuel Forbes' name written on a sticky note like Vontae Mack, no matter what, Kevin Costner, the Draft Day movie. I know we're tired of beating up on Ron and his draft picks, but we're currently purging ourselves of everything that came before, and we need to see who's going to be a part of the future here. So Cole Turner, Phidarian Mathis, Dyami Brown, Emmanuel Forbes Jr. It is put up or shut up time. It is make some money or kick rocks time. We need to see something out of you guys. In the spirit of competition, most of these jobs are open. I don't think we have a solidified number one corner right now. Emmanuel Forbes, I'm begging you, show us something. Show us something, because just knowing that Ron left here with 4 first-round picks and not one of them became a blue-chip player, it hurts my soul, it breaks my heart, and it makes me feel like, God damn, our team has been set back. But we're under new management now. Adam Peters got us. Dan Quinn's staff got us. and we're looking to turn the page. I want to see who shows up and who finally proves themselves as worthy and carves out a niche on this roster. So Emmanuel Forbes, De'Ami Brown, Cole Turner, and Fedarian Mathis, y'all are my 4 players I have my eyes on more than anybody outside of the quarterback going into training camp, which starts tomorrow. Check out my YouTube live stream tonight, previewing training camp with Josh Taylor. I'll see y'all in a couple hours. Until next time, hail to the Washington Commanders. Commander Rio, out.